All right, guys, welcome to the 2024 Radiance Technologies Independence Bowl pregame press conference. Starting off for us today is the Louisiana Tech Bulldogs. It is their 6th appearance in the Radiance Technologies Independence Bowl. 3-1-1 record, first appearance since 2019. Recorded the first shutout in Independence Bowl history in that game. We have head coach Sonny Cumbie, quarterback Evan Bullock, and linebacker Zach Zimos. Coach, we'll start with a statement from you and then open up for questions. We'll have mics going around the room, so if you have a question, just raise your hand. We'll get a mic to you.
Well, I think on behalf of Louisiana Tech, our university, and really all of our alumni and our administration, we're really excited to be here at the Radiance Technologies Independence Bowl. This is a bowl that's been going for 48 years, and it's a rich history from the standpoint of the teams that have played in this game and also the players that have stood on this stage and played in Independence Stadium. Our team is extremely excited. I'm very grateful to Bill Bailey, to John Ellis. Claire, you've done a great job with the hospitality here in Shreveport. Laura Turner, who's been our team host. It's just been a phenomenal experience for our players. And I think it's very unconventional a little bit in terms of how it worked out for us and our football team. But I will say this, in terms of the bowl system, in terms of the bowl games, and the meaningful and the impact that they have on student athletes, I wish you could have heard the excitement and the joy, and in particular of the 16 seniors that we have that chose to come back and play in this game when given the opportunity to play one more football game together. They were ecstatic. They've been very excited, and again, we're very grateful to be here. We understand the impact that this game has on North Louisiana. The impact that this game has for our fan base, and again, our kids are really excited. We're grateful for the opportunity, and we understand we're going against a great opponent. Army has been one of the best teams in the country this year. Coach Monken has done a great job everywhere he's been. If you watch, I think in terms of coaching and football, when you watch teams play, that's all you need to do is watch teams play. You don't need to listen to the commentators. You don't need to listen to anything that's going on in terms of TV. Watch teams play and see how hard and how violent and how really cohesive that Coach Monken's team plays. And we've been able to see that for 12, 13 games that we've studied them this year. And so we know it's a great challenge for us Saturday night. But again, we're excited to be here. We're very grateful to really be able to play one more football game, in particular here at Independence Stadium in the Radiance Technology Bowl here in Shreveport, Louisiana.
Hey, Ed, Chris DeVersion with KSLA News 12 here in Shreveport. Hey, being a redshirt freshman, how much of a roller coaster ride has been this season? Going from 5-7, it's not knowing if you're going to be in a bowl game, to now playing in a bowl game.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a new experience, and a new experience for really a couple of us on the team. So I mean, we've just been kind of playing it by ear, and obviously, at the end of the year, we didn't really think we were going to end up being in a bowl. And you know what? Just like Coach Cumbie said, once we got that call, I mean, gears shifted and our mindset changed, and yeah, we're just really excited to be here. It's going to be a good time.
Coach Conf, this is Andrew Wellman, KSLA News 12. I was wondering, so your Bulldogs are one of the best defensive units in the country, and you guys are getting ready to take on a very tough Army offense, who's headlined by that best offensive line in the country. What has kind of been going into that preparation process for that unit?
Well, it is really one of the best offenses that we'll play. It is the best offensive line that we'll play. It's the best offensive line in the country. And you always want to be able to control the line of scrimmage, and that's going to be a huge challenge against Army and their offensive line. Defensively, you know, some of the teams in our league, Jacksonville State was a team that ran the ball really effectively, albeit in a different way, schematically differently, and so that is a challenge. You know, been able to have a few more extra practice days, I think it's helped our defense from that standpoint. I think it's a game where, in terms of discipline, in terms of eye discipline, and being really at your best, we're going to have to be there, not just at linebacker and safety. I think it's really important for us there. And then from a defensive line standpoint, those guys have had, you know, we've got, I think from a depth standpoint, that's probably the one position that the portal has hurt us a little bit throughout the time at the end of the season until now. But, you know, we got guys that have stepped up and guys that have an opportunity to play, and our expectation is that they play well and they play extremely hard. But it's going to be a huge challenge.
Coach Roy Lang from the Advocate here in Shreveport. You touched on it a little bit a couple days ago, but can you expand on knowing Bryson from his high school days and what you saw from him then? Was there recruiting going on then? Just more about that relationship.
Yeah, I wish that whenever I was at Texas Tech and TCU, we would have offered him so we didn't have to play against him today. He's a phenomenal player. And I visited with him. You know, it had a unique perspective because he was, when I was at Texas Tech, and he was being from Abernathy, just right down the road. Just being able to follow kids when they would come to your camps and you would see them, and especially, you know, you're always aware of local talent. And for Lubbock, local is Abernathy, and that's local for us. And so you're aware of those talented young men, and you watch them year in and year out. And he would come to camps, and you would see him, and he would stand out for really all the right reasons. And then you would track him, and you would track him, and so just have always followed him in his career. And I think it's a situation where you watch and you see how people handle themselves, and man, you're just glad that the good guys have success. And he's a great ambassador for college athletics, obviously for Army, and for people back in West Texas, because he's well represented, and that's a place where people continue to follow, whether it's coaching, whether it's playing, they continue to follow their stars, and they support them. And so, you know, it's been fun to watch and see the success that he's earned, and rightfully so.
Coach Tim Owens with KTAL here in Shreveport. Just there's something to be said about getting the extra practices and you know, getting the extra time with the kids and all that stuff. But just what's the experience been like for you so far, and how important is it to be able to play in this bowl game and get all this extra time with the kids?
Yeah, I think to begin with, it's a little bit like one of those Marvel movies. You know, whenever it ends, and you're sitting there and you're watching the credits, and you're sitting there and everybody knows, hey, just wait, something's going to start again. That's kind of what our season's been like, all right? The credits started rolling, and oh, wait just a minute. Hey, let's get the boys back together. Let's get everybody back together. And again, it's been, from a practice standpoint, we probably lost, timing-wise, you know, 3 to 4 of your developmental practices. But you've been able to have, you know, 6, 7, 8 practices where you've been able to prepare for this game. I think, again, being around each other is so probably underrated when you think about a bowl and the activities, going to the Holy Angels when we got here. You know, yesterday, whenever we had the opportunity to go as a team to Barstow, just an incredible experience for our kids that are here and that are playing their last game with this experience. But then also, you had a whole 2 weeks of basically team activities that your kids have been able to be around each other. And so I think from chemistry, I think from continuity within your locker room, it's been a huge experience for our team. And then obviously the developmental piece from a football standpoint, offensively, with these guys here, you know, and then with Zach leading our defense here into the last game, you know, against a really, really difficult opponent. Those have been some great values and, you know, things that our football program will hopefully use to springboard us into the 2025 season as we go forward.
Hey, Zach, with this being the last ride, what have these last few days and, you know, hours been like, kind of leading up to game time emotionally?
Yeah, you know, like before this first game, or this last game, I guess, you know, against Kennesaw State, it was always like, oh, you know, going into the last week of practice, you know, last meetings and last team workout, just so many different lasts. Just having this extra opportunity with the guys. Never been on a more close-knit team, so it's been a fantastic opportunity. Super grateful. But, you know, the main thing is to win. You know, like we're not here to, you know, just play an extra game and, you know, get these extra practices. Obviously, it's great, but the plan is to win and obviously play really well.
Coach, what have practices been like since Coach Franklin took over the OC duties so far?
There's a lot of learning. I think a lot of learning and teaching. He's been heavily involved with what we're doing on offense, as our other staff members have been with us throughout the course of the season. And so, but I think from an execution standpoint, our guys have done a really nice job. They've flown around. And so I think from that standpoint, our kids have really responded well.
Hi, Ken Kreitzer, Canvets Media, White Plains, New York. Just a question for Zach. Just tell us a little bit about your season. You had 74 tackles, I read. What were the highlights, and what do you see in the Army offense playing a run-oriented option offense?
Yeah, you know, I think overall in the season, like you said, it didn't really go the way we wanted. Super grateful for the opportunity. You know, I think defense obviously made a very big improvement from the year before. You know, Coach JJ and the staff have done a fantastic job, you know, instilling a certain mindset in us and putting us in great positions to play and win. As far as offense, obviously, you know, they're one of the best in the nation. You know, fantastic offensive line, great quarterback. You know, their pace of play can definitely take over a game. They run the ball very effective. So I think it's just about us executing, playing together, and just playing the way we know how to play.
Thank you. Just having a little bit about, you had a fine season, 1,900 yards, 14 touchdowns throwing. How did you grow this year, and what do you see in the Army defense that stands out?
I'd say just throughout the year, it was just honestly about just gaining experience and getting more games under my belt. And as we went on, I just felt like I got more comfortable just playing and doing the stuff that the coaches were asking me to do. And as far as their defense, I mean, they're a good defense. They're very hardworking and they play really hard. And so I think that'll be something we gotta take advantage of and maybe just try and figure out ways to defeat them, and we'll see what happens.
Thank you.
Sure, thank you.
Yeah, this is for the players. You know, what's it been like with this transfer stuff? We've heard from the coaches, and not huge fans, obviously, but in the locker room, in the dorms, what's it like listening to guys, you know, really sort of try and manage their careers like professional athletes? And this JUCO thing even threw a bigger wrench into for a couple guys for you. Just as players, what's this whole process been like?
Oh yeah, I mean it's tough, you know, just trying to keep everybody together and all that stuff. But like Zach said, this is a very close-knit team, and I feel like we have a lot of good chemistry. But I mean, that's just how college football is now. I mean, everyone's always kind of looking to see like, hey, is there another opportunity elsewhere? And I mean, that's just how it is now, and just kind of you just have to accept it. But I mean, still we've still just been a really close-knit team, and I think I mean it's just been good. I mean, it's hard to adjust sometimes, you know, with all the changes and certain things like that. But overall, I mean, it's just something you got to deal with.
Definitely wish I could have another year, but you know, 6 or 7, whatever number it is, I guess we're gonna call it that. But yeah, you know, it's pretty crazy. I think it's just something you gotta just adapt to. You know, I think the coaching industry and stuff is gonna continue to change with the rules and regulations. But you know, I think our just focus right now is just, you know, the Independence Bowl and, you know, the transfer portal and all that stuff. I'm sure can wait. I'm sure coaches don't mind having to, you know, transition to 2 weeks of playing for a bowl game instead of dealing with that. So yeah, it'll be pretty interesting to see how it is in the future.
If Zach were to play again, they'd have to set some sort of age limit for these guys. And I appreciate you coming and asking these questions. I'm going to bring you to our team meeting here in another week or so.
We do have older guys on that team than myself.
Anyone else? One more down here.
Coach, I just wanted to ask you, how is it different preparing offensively and defensively when you have a short amount of time for a bowl game?
Well, I think fortunately for us in the timing of it, we were able to get, you know, at least you get a full game week in terms of your Monday and Tuesday, Wednesday, and what that looks like from a structure standpoint, and how you meet and how you practice, and then you're able to add a few extra ones just in terms of when the timing of all this happened. And I think you try to have a plan from a physical standpoint. How do we get our kids physically, which a lot of them were still in town, and so they had 2 weeks of discretionary workouts where they came in on their own and did some running. And so you try to build them up from a physical standpoint where you're going to have their legs back under them, and then from a mental standpoint, then you go to attack it from the standpoint of your game plan. So it's been a little bit longer in terms of the game planning, in terms of a game week. I guess you've had a few extra active opportunities, which is definitely necessary when you're playing an offense that attacks you like Army does. And so, and defensively, they're a really good defense. And so we've been able to make use of the time. And so I think from that standpoint, it hasn't been as unusual as the rest of the circumstances. We've probably lost again, probably 3 or 4 of those practices, but a lot of times those are developmental practices.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you guys. One more to go. Go ahead, Andrew.
Zach, with you talked about how you had thought that you had played your last collegiate game. What have the emotions do they kind of go through? If you get one more, you got a chance to act in on how it would be in the big win.
Yeah, you know, like everyone was saying earlier, or I think someone had asked a question, it's a roller coaster. You know, having 3 overtime games, you know, last time I Hail Mary, you know, we finished the season on a shutout. You know, 2 weeks go by, you know, I'm about to move out of my apartment on that following Tuesday. Next thing you know, it's Saturday, mid-morning, you know, get the call from Coach Cumbie, go up to his office and find out I got a whole other game. Life's crazy, but, you know, life is awesome. Very fortunate to be here. Just excited to play on Saturday.
Okay. Thank you guys. Coach, if you'll stay up there, we're going to have a photo opportunity with Coach Cumbie and Coach Monken, and then we'll get to Army here.